Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on this week's webinar. Super excited to have Fahim from 𝗪𝗪. And today we're going to talk about top apps to supercharge your accounting business. Now, even if you don't have an accounting business, this webinar is still relevant for you because some of the apps that the accounting firms use, your business can use as well. About this webinar, we are talking about some of the things that will help accounting firms become more productive, save a lot of time. You know, with an accounting business, your time is money. You're providing services to your clients, and you want to be able to provide them the best service possible, and also to make yourself efficient and productive as well. There's quite a few cool tools that Fahim will go into, and I won't steal his thunder. I'll let him talk about that. I will do a 𝗪𝗪 demo at the end. We will be taking Q&A at the end. So Fahim has a lot of experience and knowledge on apps and accounting softwares and the apps that support it. So feel free to pick his brain with any questions that you have as well. Fahim, do you want to just give us a quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So name's Fahim. Like it says, I'm new to Dubai, but definitely been around the accounting tech space for a while now. Most recently, I was at QuickBooks for about best part of 4 years. I looked after the south of England for those guys. Now I'm about a year into my my career at 𝗪𝗪 and in Dubai, and hopefully I'm bringing the experience that I've got from the UK into the UAE market. As we're going through a very similar transition as we did in the UK about 7-8 years ago.
Cool. No, thanks for that introduction. I guess, you know, with your experience with QuickBooks, you know, and you know, obviously I left 9 years ago, but at that time, a lot of the mantra then was, you know, make your accounting firm cloud ready, and now I guess it's more about AI. But here, you do have some accounting firms thinking about AI, but also a lot of firms moving to the cloud. So I'm assuming you're seeing those kind of trends currently?
Definitely. I think there is definitely some ground to cover when it comes to becoming cloud ready. But the great thing is that the UAE is having the transition into cloud at the same time they're having the transition into the AI world. So absolutely, I think in the firms that we work with, the systems and the AI and the cloud tools that they're bringing into their practices is definitely making a huge change just to their day-to-day workflows.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I'm Rayhan. I am the co-founder of 𝗪𝗪. We're a UAE-based tax technology business. We're looking to punch above our weight. We've got 3 products in a pipeline for Saudi. I'm also the host of the 𝗪𝗪𝗁 podcast. Check it out. We've got Jerry being released this week. And I'm also the founder of 𝗪𝗪𝗁 Partners, a bookkeeping firm based in Dubai. So some of the things that we'll talk about today is, like I said, we're going to go through the tech stack that some accounting firms may want to consider. I'm not as with 𝗪𝗪𝗁 Partners, my other business, we do have quite a lot of tech that we use internally, and I think Fahim has got a few apps which are probably an upgrade to that. But we use 𝗪𝗪 at the heart of our system, mainly because it has APIs and it can integrate with so many different apps and tools. We use ClickUp for our task management. We use Pipedrive for our CRM as well, and that all works for us really well. We are looking at AI, and there's been lots of different things happening within the AI space. So our email is provided by Google, and because we have the enterprise version, we get to use all of the AI features in there as well. And that's helped us a lot in terms of productivity, in terms of making conversions from PDF to Excel, emails, and we're looking more and more into that when it comes to finding efficiencies within our business as well. I'll give you a quick introduction of 𝗪𝗪𝗁. So we are the first AI-powered corporation tax automation software. We want to simplify the compliance process for accountants and businesses. We want to make accountants superhuman. That's our mission as a business. We help save 75% of the processing time, and we allow you to take on 50% more clients using our technology. And I'll go through a live demo at the end of the webinar. The three main products that we are launching with our corporation tax product is we have an AI-powered tax calculator. We also have financial statements production. So if you need a financial statements which is IFRS compliant for SMEs, Taxstar allows you to do that, and it's very easy to use. We're trying to get you away from Word and Excel to produce those financial statements, and you can use it in a system, and I'll go through that later on in this webinar. And finally, with the new rules around document expiry with the FTA, so if you've got business, you're FTA registered, you need to update your documents within the portal within 20 working days when they expire. So when you have an Emirates ID, a passport, visa, trade license, if you don't update it in the FTA portal, you now get a 5,000 dirham penalty. So what we've done is we've created a work stream where you can upload your documents. We will then send you reminders as and when they're due to save you headache, and also to help your clients be compliant as well. So Fahim, I'm gonna move it over to you, yeah, I'm super keen to learn about some of the apps that you're going to showcase. Some of them we don't use, and some of them we do want to use at some point. So over to you.
Thanks very much, Rayhan. So as we talked about earlier, I've been working in accounting tech for the best part of a decade. I joined the team at Scope about a year ago, and essentially our mission is to help firms and SMEs figure out what tech stack actually makes your life easier, not harder. And I say that as I've seen accountants waste months choosing tools and still just end up on spreadsheets. So whether you're running a practice or you're leading a finance team or just purely exploring options, we want to show you what works and what doesn't, and how modern firms are quietly becoming 10 times more efficient just by choosing the right combination of tools. So let's be honest, with the massive array of products out there, why are accountants still burning their weekends away? I've identified a few of the main culprits here. So the first one would be you're still chasing your clients around for documents. The second is, with all of the great and not so great software out there, you're getting lost in the tools and you're still running back to Excel, which you know isn't going to be the answer to your problems. The third thing is none of your systems really talk to each other. And from what I've experienced in the UAE so far, there's a lot of underutilized solutions, which leads to practices, firms and SMEs going back to essentially the dark ages, and choosing to stick with the bases of what you learned 20 years ago when you were getting qualified or when you were just starting out. The real problem is that you've never really took yourself out of the fold to see what works for you and your unique workflow. And there's never really any help other than some software companies who've promised you a sort of one-size-fits-all solution. So, the fix. Modern firms have gone past just using cloud software. What they tend to do is try to build systems that work for them. So we'll go into a general workflow now. Just for practicality and time, we're going to assume that you found a client and you're happy to start working with them. There's probably a separate session to be had about the massive task of getting to the stage of ironing out a formal business relationship. So one of the most important things when building a bulletproof tech stack is to make sure that where things start are smooth and consistent. Businesses that we work with use tools like Ignition and Cone for proposals, and they'll use things like Binder for KYC and AML checks. Using tools like that, make sure that your pricing is consistent and you're able to efficiently invoice your clients as well as retain those clients easier. Tools like Binder make sure that your KYC and AML are no longer a huge headache, and you can easily input your client's details and let Binder run the necessary checks to make sure that you're covered. The worst thing that can happen is that you've spent your time and your money on sending out a proposal to a client, only to find out later down the line that you're not actually able to work with that person due to a failed AML check. That puts you and your business at risk, as well as wastes a huge amount of time. The next thing is going to be the catalyst. So once you've got the agreement signed and you're all clear to work for them, there's usually a huge amount of paperwork, invoices, receipts, and so on for you to get into your general ledger software. That's where tools like 𝗪𝗃 and file.𝗪 can come in handy. In this day and age, I too often see practices using excessive resources on tasks like manually uploading receipts and invoices into their software. Accountants tend to operate, from my experience, on a low trust basis with software that is based around grabbing data from pages and coding transactions to a general ledger. I've heard countless numbers of times that it only takes you 1 minute to type up, but in practice, the proof is there for everyone to see. Most of the time, this manual work is not very rewarding for anyone to do. And yes, it might take you 1 or 2 minutes at the start, but no one can really maintain that velocity for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And what you'll find is that the knock-on effect is that you have reduced accuracy and underutilized talent at the end of the day. Products like 𝗪𝗃 and file.𝗪 don't get tired. They don't take days off. You invest the time in at least automating the most repetitive tasks that you do for your clients on a regular basis, things like rent or subscriptions. What you'll find is that you can save almost 80% of the time that you spend actually undertaking these tasks. The other thing is that clients nowadays have much higher expectations. They want regular reporting, they want up-to-date dashboards and so on. And the speed at which your data goes in and gets reconciled is paramount to meeting that expectation.
Just a quick question, Fahim. I'm just going to kind of jump in. If you can just go back to the previous slide. So I've heard of 𝗪𝗃, right? Because 𝗪𝗃 was quite popular. It's quite popular in the UK. And it's kind of like uses OCR to read receipts. And it does lots of other things as well, like bank statements as well. Not heard of file.𝗪. What's the difference between file.𝗪 and 𝗪𝗃? Is it almost the same, or do they do different things as well?
Yeah, so with 𝗪𝗃, it's built out and out for accounting practices. Yeah. It solely focuses on that market. With file.𝗪, the possibilities are much wider. So if you look at 𝗪𝗃 as a document extraction tool for accounting software to then end up in a general ledger, file.𝗪 can do much more than that. So what do I mean by that? It can actually ingest a lot more different types of documents. As the name kind of entails, it's much more heavily based on the AI element as well, rather than the workflow element. So the things that you can extract and manipulate within file.𝗪 and then send elsewhere is a lot different. I think in terms of the key sort of difference is that 𝗪𝗃 is, like I say, out and out accounting software extraction, whereas file.𝗪, you can look at it much more of a middleware software. So its application goes past just accountants. There's use cases for like customs departments where you have to match like delivery notes to customs declarations. Wow. And like that. So definitely deserves a whole session on its own. But yeah,
so similar. Yeah, so I guess like e-commerce businesses and import-export, logistics business, manufacturing, they would they would benefit from that system as well, which is quite interesting. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
No worries. Cool. So once you've got the sort of catalyst figured out, a cloud general ledger is generally going to be the core of most accounting and finance operations. It's where the receipts and the invoices start becoming numbers that then lead into a VAT return or a corporation tax filing. So you want to make sure that the system that you've got works for you and your team. There's so many products in this space. It's probably the most daunting task to pick one, but here's my take. Make sure that it's cloud-based so that you can access it from anywhere. Make sure it fits in and integrates with most of your tech stack. Make sure that it's constantly developed by the team behind it, much like Taxstar is. There's also nothing stopping you using a mix. So my advice is just don't get carried away and try and become a master of all of them. Pick a few, specialize in them, and dive in sort of head first into learning how you can become masters of those few rather than average on everything. We recommend using tools like 𝗬𝗲, which is a tried and tested cloud native solution, which has shown a strong interest in expanding its presence in this region. We've got tools like Zoho Books as well, which has a huge base in this region. It's great for firms who are already using and incorporated into the Zoho ecosystem. It's also got a connection to the 𝗪𝗵𝘁 tax portal. So you can see from just that how invested they are in this region. We're also finding huge success in products like 𝗪𝗿, which is native to the GCC region. It actually has its roots in the e-invoicing transition in Saudi, and it's been expanding its presence in the UAE for the past few years and has some really, really great features already embedded in it, but also some really great features coming out soon. So in my estimation, definitely one to watch out for. So after you've chosen your general ledger software or your softwares, now you get to the fun bit. This is going to be the bit that actually makes you a top firm in the eyes of your clients and the FTA and your employees. Since we're on Taxstar's platform, it would be wrong not to start with them. Rayhan and the team over at Taxstar are doing amazing things when it comes to filing your taxes. And the best bit is that it starts for free for small business relief. There's amazing tools like SIFT and 𝗪𝗁 as well that can bring your numbers to life, meaning you can actually advise your clients in a timely manner about how their business is going and become that trusted advisor. It's the bit that puts you into the category of elite in my eyes. Anyone can really go and file a VAT return. It's that regular business advice and that preemptive advice that you can give to your clients, which really, really tend to forge those long-term relationships. So after that, once you've got that bulletproof tech stack, you want to make sure that internally you also have something to manage your business. Practice management tools are the tools that thread all the pieces together and make sure that your entire team's on the same page. Again, there's so many different solutions out there. Carbon is a great option. It's been developed hugely over the last few years. We've got tools like 𝗪𝗏 that can help you understand how much capacity you have, manage your calendars, teach your employees the proper job flow that internally you expect. There's tools like Zoho Practice, which slot in quite nicely with Zoho Books, which can do similar things. There's also tools like 𝗀, which we mentioned earlier, can help you understand the journey that your clients' books are actually going through. In my experience, people who have great practice management tools paired with great internal adoption are the ones that have the easiest time scaling. Since everyone's on the same page and everyone's got a shared mission, it tends to soothe those sort of growing pains. So now that you've got a glimpse of what's out there, now what? Most people know what they need to do. They just don't want to go through the headache of getting up and doing it. My promise would be that it's going to be hard at the start, but once you start feeling the benefits of building the right tech stack, you'll wonder why you didn't start earlier. And that's where Scope really come in. We're here to make sure that you're not left to your own devices and having to test thousands of solutions that are available out there on the market. We've been doing this for the last 12, 13 years. We've tested thousands of apps and we've helped hundreds of accountants and SMEs with this journey particularly. We understand what works and we manage the whole process for you. And honestly, the secret behind how we do so well is that we're honest. We'll tell you if we think something's right for you or not. We also don't charge anything more than what the softwares would charge if you were to go to them directly. So you're not even spending anything extra on those products. So I've put my QR code up here. So if you want to scan it to have a chat with me separately about how we can work together, please do so. But thank you very much for listening, and I'll hand it back over to Rayhan.
Yeah, no, thank you for giving us insights into those apps. I think I'll probably give you some insights from my side as well. And those insights are that when you're implementing new apps and new systems, it is quite a big project. But I think you've got to kind of break it down into small pieces and not expect to do like a cold turkey from day one. And what I mean by that is you can't just add all your apps from day one, right? You got to take I would say you take a stage approach. So once you've got your accounting system ready for your clients, then you want to start building on top of that, whether you add, the Dext or the File AI, or then you want to add the reporting side. I think that's what you just need to do. The other thing I'll also the other experience that I'll also share is if it disrupts the clients, but the clients get better information as a result, I think they're on board, right? So clients with clients, they want the best reports, and they want reports within a certain amount of time. And if you're able to demonstrate that you're able to do that, I think that gives you really good, a good relationship with your client. Because for accounting firms, we should really be able to, once we sign a client, the lifetime value can be years, right? And we also want to be able to scale with them. So if they think that we are an accounting firm that can only do basic bookkeeping, but they don't know that you've got these cool like AI tools under the hood, the perception is going to be that you're a cheap bookkeeper. We're going to take it in-house, and then we're going to get rid of you because we're going to put everything in-house. But the reality is the opposite. What with the other business, what we found is, as the company scales, as our client scales, we can scale with them, because not only have we set up the processes and systems, but also we have the tools to be able to grow with them as well. So whether they want additional reporting or whether they want, weekly reports, we can do that because we have the tools to do that. And I think for practice owners, you want to think about, it's a short-term pain to be able to move to these apps, but long-term, you're making your business more future-proof by being able to do all of these different things. Because ultimately, if your process is better than your client's process and they rely on you, they'll never leave you. And I think that's something that we've experienced as we've gone through the journey of growing the accounting firm and working with our clients as well. What I will do is I'm going to do a quick demo of Taxstar, so I can kind of showcase how it works. And like I said, if there's any questions at the end, feel free to ask any questions to myself or Fahim. Fahim, I noticed that you didn't put QuickBooks in one of your accounting softwares.
Yeah, I mean, look, QuickBooks is a great product. There's no denying it. I think in this region, there are definitely tools that you can put a bit more attention to. Like I say, it's got that global reach. It's got great UI in there. I think there's still some work to be done in terms of making it compliant, because actually getting a VAT return in a compliant format out of QuickBooks, in my estimation, has been more difficult than it in theory should be. So it's not, I don't jump to recommend it to a lot of our clients, but if it's already being used and it's already working well and they've got integrations and so on, then yeah, absolutely, yeah, fine. But I think there's definitely some work to be done there. I know that Taxstar is also on the QuickBooks marketplace, so maybe there is some extra reassessment that's required from my side.
It was tough to get on the App Store, by the way, on QuickBooks, but we got there in the end. Yeah, no. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, we focus on 3 main products with our release for businesses and accounting firms to be compliant with corporation tax. So if I quickly go into the first one, which was the deadline management, within your company, you're able to upload all of your documents, whether it's a trade license, passport, visas, Emirates ID, and we scan it as well using OCR. And then it kind of picks up your relevant bits of information. And we've also added like a disclaimer here, just so you know what the law covers. So it's not just the change of change of trade license and Emirates ID. It's also if you change your address, your company type, the shareholders, you need to update the FTA portal within 20 working days. We then have this report, the document expiry report, and it gives you a report in terms of which documents, when they expire, and when they're coming up to expiry. And this also is sent by email. For accounting firm owners, the benefit is you can monetize from this. Accounting firms typically charge between 100 dirhams to 1,000 dirhams every time they change the FTA portal. And that's because it's quite a clunky portal to go into and change documents, right? So if you're able to do it and you save your client time, they'll pay for that. And this is one of the things we're trying to do. We want to make you superhuman, but we also want to ensure that you're able to monetize, from your business as well. I will go into a tax return and very briefly touch upon some of the things that it does. So the way we've designed the tax return calculation is we want to allow your junior staff to prepare the tax return, and then your senior staff to be able to review it and then get it submitted. The philosophy of that is, we want you to be able to take on more clients without having to hire more expensive headcount. And so we've created a framework, and also we don't want you to use Excel, right? Everyone's probably using Excel to do the tax returns. Very risky process to do, because obviously if you have an audit, you have a problem, and you have different versions of Excel as well. I'm gonna just reset this TV. So currently what we do is we are connected to, we're on a Xero and QuickBooks and 𝗪𝗓 App Store, and you can connect to Xero, 𝗪𝗓 and QuickBooks into Taxstar. You can also upload a Zoho TV, or you can upload a TV via an Excel upload. So I'm just gonna show you an example of how that works. So I'm just gonna add a TV. And then once you've done that, we have this feature called AI mapping. Now, in the very beginning, when we release a product, we realized that it takes a long time to map your TV to Taxstar, because that's your starting point of your calculation. So we created this AI mapping tool where it maps around 80 to 60% of your TV, and it reads the type and name of your account code to then map it to Taxstar. This is a one-time exercise. You don't have to do it again. Once it's done, it remembers. The only time you'd have to do it again is if you are adding new chart of accounts lines to your accounting system. Once you've done that, you can then map the remaining items, mark as complete, and then you have your profit and loss. This is a starting point for your tax calculation. We've tried to make it accountant friendly, so we've added like columns where you can put adjustments, because accountants like putting adjustments for whatever reason. We also have a check to make sure you haven't mapped any of your balance sheet accounts to your profit and loss. And so that kind of does a reconciliation there, and then you're good to go. Now, there's quite a number of tabs in here, and I won't go through every single one, but I'll go through a few examples so you can see how it works and what we're doing. So for example, in interest, there's a rule in the FTA where if your interest is more than 12 million, you can only deduct 30% of your EBITDA against that interest, and then you carry it forward. So we have that calculation in here. And we also have the EBITDA calculation. The EBITDA calculation is not the EBITDA as per your financial statements. It's the EBITDA as prescribed by the FTA. And so there's additional things you need to take into consideration when you're preparing the tax return. We also have disclaimers. Again, this is to kind of help your staff think about the process. We don't do the calculation for you. This is a tool that you use to make your process a lot more robust and streamlined. As soon as that's done, you've got your tax computation. You can attach documents and you can add notes, so you can save your supporting documentation. This is a summary of all of the different schedules that you've completed. And then you've got your tax return form. Now, there's over 200 fields that you need to fill in. And where possible, we've automated some of the mapping. Obviously, there's a accounting schedule that you need to fill in, and you've already uploaded your TB. So we've mapped it automatically where possible to save you time. Also take into consideration that you cannot currently download your tax return into PDF. You can do that here. And then you can save it for your own records, for example. You can push your tax journals into Xero. And then the record keeping. Now, whenever you have an audit, usually you only have 1 to 2 weeks to provide the supporting documentation for your tax calculation to the FTA. We want this to be a single source of truth. So you have all of your documentation in Taxstar. So it's not in your emails, it's not in your WhatsApp, it's not in your Slack, or, wherever else it might be. You've got one place where you save all that information, and we've enabled you to do that as well. We then have a 2-stage approval process. This is to ensure that your managers looked at it, or your client. If you don't want to send it to your client, you can send it to a partner or a director. They get a read-only version, and they can see all of the way it's been calculated. And once they've approved, you can then submit to the FTA portal. So that's the kind of tax calculation engine that we've built. The final thing that I'll show is our IFRS template. Now, within Taxstar, if you take a single entity, you get this tool for you as well. Now, we've created this IFRS for SMEs template, and it's a PDF template, so you can edit it if you want. But some of the things we've added on this side, we've added a few tabs. So instead of you going in and out of the document, you can use these easy to use tables to then update information. And you can just add the information here, save the financial data, and then you can see that you have your amounts in here automatic. The other feature I'd like to also mention is if you was to change it directly, you can see that the totals, they update automatically. So if you're using a Word document, you can't update your totals automatically as well. And we have all of the different schedules that are required as per the IFRS for SMEs requirement. If you are a business and you need to submit your tax returns, you also need to submit financial statements as well. And we wanted to make sure that we have a tool that allows you to do that as well. That's it for my demo. Feel free to ask any questions on the comment section in the comment section in LinkedIn. Fahim, from your point of view, what are you seeing in the market with accounting firms currently?
In what sense?
In the sense that how is the adoption? What kind of things? What are the frictions? What are the kind of things that they come up with in terms of why they wouldn't or they would go with a new software or apps from your point of view? What are you seeing in the market that accounting firm owners are? How do they perceive some of these new apps and pre and post?
Yeah, great question. So I was having this discussion with one of the guys we work with at 𝗪𝗪𝘂 yesterday, who's going to be moving to the UAE soon. And I think I've been here this is my 7th month being in the UAE, and even in that short period of time, I think I've seen more and more accountancy practices more receptive to change. Now, what do I mean by that is, in this market, there has been, in my estimation, an over-reliance on labor to solve issues and overlooking solutions to solve software solutions to solve issues. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say if we bring it back to manual data entry, you can hire pretty cheap labor in the UAE, and you can have those people type up your invoices and receipts and upload them into whatever general ledger you're looking at. And then you can probably also hire pretty cheap labor to get financial statements created and so on and so forth. The thing is that people are sort of waking up to the fact that if you can create a group of softwares that can also do that, you end up with happier employees. You actually get to empower those people to do their job better. And the knock-on effect, if from a profit standpoint, tends to be that your clients are actually willing to pay more because they have that service. Because there is, when we go into the SME space where we work directly with businesses, there is so many horror stories of, they're under audit, their accountant's not prepared for it, they've been fined, or they've trusted their accountant to do a filing for them and it's been late and now they have to pay a fine. And as everyone sort of knows, in this region, the fines are insane. So I think people are slowly picking up software and really trying to invest time in automating as much as possible, because if it's anything like the UK, there's always going to be people out there who aren't willing to change. And then there's going to be those who are going to move with the times, and give it 4 or 5 years, you'll see those people who have invested the time with their teams really skyrocket, and you'll see a lot of people left behind. So it's a very interesting time, I would say.
I think there's 2 points that I would make. Number one is, with the Emiratization rules kicking in, I don't think you can throw cheap labor at the problem anymore, because the rules are going to change from 50 to 25. If you've got 25 employees and you hire one more, if you've got 24 and you hire one more, you need to hire a local, right? So I think from that point of view, if you're looking to throw cheap labor at the problem, I don't think that's a viable solution at all. And I think these tools are very important from that point of view. The other thing I'd also mention is, I think accountants they have to be in a position where they are willing to change very quickly, because we've been thrown so many different regulations at us over the last few years. So you had VAT, then you had the AML, KYC regulations, and you got corporation tax, and the next year you got e-invoicing as well. So from a regulatory point of view, we have to up our game. We have to make sure that we are up on top of everything, not just for ourselves, but for our clients as well. And also we need to make sure that our processes can keep up, our systems can keep up with these changes. So for example, you mentioned Binder with KYCs, for example, right? If you take on a client and they were red flagged and you didn't notify the central bank within, I think it's 48 hours or 72 hours, that can really seriously affect your business. So in this situation, apps like that is very important, not just for efficiencies, but for the survival of your business as well. And similarly, when it comes to some of the things that you need to do to keep on top of regulation, I think what Zoho has done is great, where they've connected to Emaara Tax, and I think 𝗪𝗪 is looking to do that as well. And that saves time, because it's pushes all of the data into the FTA portal as draft. We're looking to do that as well with corporation tax. It's not yet able to do that, but we are looking to get to a stage where you can push it to corporation to the FTA portal, and that's something that is saves a lot of time and it reduces errors, because when you have to key numbers in, someone's got to check that the keyed numbers are correct and it's gone into the right box, because if you've put it in the wrong box and you submit, you've got to do a resubmission, which is another headache as well. So I think when it comes to some of these applications and some of these new softwares, I don't think accounting firms have a choice. I think if they don't upgrade their processes and systems, they are going to fall behind, and it will affect survival as well.
Yeah. Can I add something topical to the discussion? So there's always going to be, as an accountant, there's always going to be like a cost benefit analysis when you're looking at any software, right? I completely understood there should be for any business owner. Is this going to give me back in return as much as I'm spending on it or more? Tends to be the regular sort of mental calculation that people do. In Dubai, I've seen, so there's really a gulf of different accountants. So there's very, very cheaply priced accountants that you can, I've seen ads online for, 299 dirhams a month and you have everything done and so on. So there's tons of those practices. And then there's, premium. There isn't much in the middle at the moment. There is a few firms there that are in the middle that are kind of doing a mix of having good teams and good software and so on, and able to manage their practices. But the one thing I find it confuses me is that it only takes like a 5-minute drive down Sheikh Zayed Road to really, really experience the kind of abundance of wealth that Dubai and the UAE has to offer. And what that says to me is that there is definitely going to be clients that are willing to spend more than 299 a month on their accounts. And there's going to be the appetite from a business owner to know a lot more about their business, because this region is kind of built on innovation. So why wouldn't business owners also want the same for their books? Because as a business owner, you want to just go about your business. You want to run your whatever business it is that you're doing. And too long has it been accountants are only going to be doing tax returns and filings and so on. Nowadays, you get business owners who want to see how much money did I make this month compared to last month? How well is this product doing? Is this service well priced? Am I losing money on X, Y, and Z? And those are the questions that accountants should be able to answer. And in Dubai, I've seen there's a very small niche of clients or accountants that can actually answer those questions for their clients, like freely and quickly. What do you think about that?
No, 100%. And I agree with what you're saying. Obviously, one of the things I would mention about Dubai is, yes, you come in and you see shiny buildings and Lambos and Rolls Royce and all of that, right? But the entrepreneur is shrewd, right? The entrepreneur is not going to pay extra money just for the sake of it. The entrepreneur or the business owner is not going to pay for an average bag for LV prices, right? Because they're smart, and they became to their position by being shrewd, right? But when it comes to what do they care about, right? They've put money into a business. They care about ROI. They care about what's going on in their business. They care about, they're taking a risk in a specific venture. They need to know all of the latest information, what's going on. They need to make sure that they're not going to get stung by the tax authorities. And I think when it comes to positioning yourselves with clients and prospects, you need to decide who you are, right? Are you a cheap, low-cost provider or you're a premium provider? And then you need to decide, what problems am I trying to solve? Now, there are businesses that do want a very low cost fee, right? Because, for example, you have many businesses right now who have a license just for the visa, right? Or they're a freelancer, or they are a one-man band. They're working out of the UAE, but they got a contract in the US, right? What they earn goes to their pocket, right? It's not like they're a business. And so they're going to be very cost conscious in terms of what they want to spend. And they're not going to want to spend premium prices on accounting. They want to spend the lowest, but it doesn't mean that they know that if they go for the lowest price, they're going to get a really crappy service, right? So being able to differentiate yourself and communicate to your client what you offer is very important. But when it comes to pitching to higher level, higher caliber clients, they need to know what value they're going to get. They need to know what assurances they're going to get from you. And when you're able to mention this is our tech stack that we're using, and they can see the benefits of that, they will have that reassurance that you are a forward-thinking firm that is looking to ensure that your processes are more robust than theirs. I think that's the bottom line, right? If they can trust your process, they will pay you a little bit extra for that, because they know that's a peace of mind. They don't want to think about accounting every day. They want to think about accounting once a month or once a quarter. They want to make sure that you're looking after it and you are giving them peace of mind. Because if you can't give them peace of mind, they'll go for the cheaper versions anyway. So yeah, no, I agree with that. But I would say, when you're prospecting clients, you have to understand what, you need to understand you need to make sure that you know who you are and you're able to portray that to the market. So then you're attracting the right customers as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We only have one question, and that's from 𝗟𝗲𝗿, and he's asking, can I give read-only access or something to clients to the TaxStar portal, or is it just for accountants? Yes, you can give read-only access. You can give read-only access to your entities, and you can also give read-only access to your completed returns so they can look at. So that should be covered from that point of view. I know we're coming up to time. I really enjoyed this session. I thank you for sharing all of the apps that you guys are working on. I think that's super useful. How can, obviously they can scan the QR code to get in contact with you. What would you say your closing remarks are for our audience?
I think if you want to make a change in your business, I think it's best to just get started. What our business is here to do is to help you on that journey. That's not to say that you won't be able to do it by yourself. I'll end up with an analogy. So the analogy, because I love analogies. So we use the analogy of a house. So you can go and you can build your own house. You can put up all the walls. You can furnish it yourself, and you can do all of that. And it's going to take you some time, and it's really going to fit kind of what you want, and you'll get the exact thing. It will take you a lot more time. There's probably going to be some mistakes along the road and so on. Or you can go and probably hire a contractor and a decorator and have them do it for you and give them kind of what you want. And that's essentially what Scope is here to do. We are here for that firm who doesn't really want to go through the journey of kind of putting the walls up and furnishing the whole house by itself. We're here to kind of do the research for you, figure out what it is, works for you, and build your house. So that's that. I think that will hopefully open the eyes of those people who are wondering how we can actually slot in.
Yeah, no, 100%. Also, you work with many accounting firms, right? So you can give the insights to what other people are doing in terms of what improvements they can make in their your industry specific, right? So you have that industry knowledge and expertise to give the best advice possible.
Definitely. So we work with accountants, but then we don't just limit ourselves to accountants. We work with many SMEs. We work with a lot of like e-commerce businesses. So there's a wide array because we've got the kind of expertise, and we've been through different iterations of businesses on their journey to revolutionizing the way they work in digital transformation. We can help out most businesses, and I mean, yeah, it doesn't cost anything apart from half an hour to have a chat with me and see if we can help. And like I say, we try and be as honest as possible. So if we think it's something we can help with, absolutely we can do. And if it's something that we can refer, we will do. And if it's something that we can't sort of help with and there's no one else to refer, we'll also tell you that. But yeah, the start of it is just really making that change and making a conscious effort to be better.
Yeah, that's really refreshing. So thank you for sharing that. I think we'll wrap it up then. Thank you everyone for joining us today. This webinar will be available on LinkedIn Live. It's also be available on YouTube. Yeah, see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.